Buongiorno. Come sta, everybody? Hope y'all are doing great. So in this video, we're continuing the How I Produce a Cover Song series. This time we are looking at making a music video. So I'm filming this intro and the outro after the fact, having shot lots of footage over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So just a heads up, this video might be a little bit scatterbrained. So as I shot the music video, I would get my phone out and then shoot footage of my setup and talk a little bit about what I was doing, then shut it down, film, then move on to the next and do the same thing. So I've got a whole bunch of little clips all throughout the process, in addition to some screen capture stuff, where I'm talking about post-production, where I'm going into the editing, and where I'm talking about creating a thumbnail image and all the different things. So this video might be a little bit weird, and if the jumping between different things is uncomfortable, I get it. I don't blame you one bit. It's just how this one ended up coming together. Just because I was trying to document things as they were happening, which is very difficult for my single focus brain to do. But we've got it. It's done. And so now that that's done, I can work on editing this video. So let's go ahead and dive in and see how this all came together. You silly mutt. So let me get a notepad and a writing utensil, because where I'm going to start for the music video part of this is going to be in the pre-production. That's always pretty important. For the pre-production side of this, for one, I need to pull up my cover. And again, my screen's over here, so if you see me looking over here, that's what's going on. I'm not just refusing to look at the camera. I know I've been criticized for that in the past. So, need to kind of listen through and see, not all the way, and I won't film all of that, but because I already have a general idea of what I'm going to do. But some of the things that I'm listening for, that I'm paying attention to, is, for one, trying to refresh my memory on what I even did in this song, because it's been a while since I actually recorded it. And also trying to think about the performance aspect. So I try to treat each part like a different character, like I'm the different people in the band. It just makes it a little bit more interesting. You look at some of my other cover videos, you can see, like the AC/DC one, when I'm doing the lead singing part, I'm wearing an undershirt and a ball cap, and just trying to look a little bit more like Brian Johnson. And then when I'm doing the lead guitar part, I've got the wearing a tie and a button-up shirt and some, I don't remember what my pants were, but I'm treating that like a different character, trying to look a little bit more like Angus. And then you can see that also in I think it's the Hellraiser video, where when I was doing the drums and stuff, I was clean shaven, and then as I did the other parts, I let my beard grow out and trim the middle to look a little bit more choppy, like Lemmy would wear. So I'm gonna try and take the same approach here. So this music video might actually take a significant amount of time to film and get done if I'm trying to do that and treat each part like its own character. I know I'm going to start with drums, and so for that I need to think about, okay, what does Lars normally look like on stage, right? From what I've seen, lately he's been wearing just a black t-shirt and some long black pants and a backwards black ball cap. So that's probably the look I'm going to go with. And so I'm going to use my notepad and I'm going to make a note of that and just kind of start planning out these roles. So then, okay, now I'm, listening through, thinking about, okay, what other parts do I need? Another important one is going to be the rhythm guitar / lead vocal, and that's another decision I have to make, right? Is do I want to film this where I'm doing like James and I'm trying to play rhythm guitar and sing at the same time? That could make filming a little tricky if I'm trying to make sure that my timing, both with my guitar playing and my lip syncing, is right on. Or do I want to try and do those separately, which might make it easier to film, but it's going to look less like the band I'm doing this as a tribute to, right? I think I'm going to try and do along with the lead vocal plus lead vox. I have played and sung this song before, so I know I can do it. I just haven't done it with syncing before. It's usually just kind of jamming. I've actually got a really cute video of me playing this song. I haven't published it anywhere. I think my wife has it, but my kid is little bitty. He's sitting in his high chair and I'm in the living room just jamming out, playing some Seek and Destroy, and my kid just starts headbanging. That was a good moment. That's a decision made. Guitar-wise, what do I want to use? So Metallica is really known for playing ESP guitars, and I've got an ESP LTD, this one, with that really pretty quilt top. I love this guitar, and it would look good in that video. But I also know James plays his white single cut a lot. And I happen to have a white single cut with EMGs that I don't know that I've used this in any videos yet. So this one, I think, is a really good candidate. And I did actually use this to record the track. I think I used both this and the ESP. I'm not necessarily worried about doing filming exactly the guitars that I used in the recording process. It's a performance piece. It's a different entity in my opinion. Oh, another note I need to make on the drum part is Lars is usually clean shaven. So I need to, I'm kind of starting to get scruffy already, but I need to shave before I can film that. And so that'll probably be the first video or the first footage that I film. Okay. So with the rhythm guitar and the lead vox, I'm going to use the white single cut, my Harley Benton with the EMG Fat 55s in it. I don't know if I don't really like myself with just the handlebar mustache. I'll probably try and grow out my choppy look again. So here's a picture of him I'm looking at with his custom single cut with the biker chevron on it. And he's wearing like black armbands and a black sleeveless shirt and a leather vest. And he usually doesn't wear a hat, so I won't put on the cowboy hat or anything. That'll also help keep this role visually distinct from what I did emulating Lemmy for my Hellraiser cover. Let's see. And then I'm also thinking about, okay, so visually, what mic do I want to use? So James uses the Shure 55 Special constantly. And that would look really cool. I also know that I did like backup screaming vocals in this. So then my question to myself becomes, all right, am I doing those as am I going to film that? If so, am I doing it of course Seek and Destroy would have been when Cliff was in the band, but as if Rob and Kirk were doing backups, and I'm playing that along with other instruments, or am I doing that as like there's backup singers? Okay, so let's move on to lead guitar. I'm seeing leather jackets. Now he wears a lot more design pattern stuff right now and is a lot more flashy than anything I own. But I've got a leather jacket. I could do that. Now I'm not gonna go so far as like wear a wig or anything to emulate his long hair. And I cannot see myself spending any money on like leopard print and the kind of stuff that he wears. Let's see. I could do something I'm seeing a lot in his stuff is like a white undershirt with a leather jacket. And just regular jeans. Okay. And guitar wise, I mean, it's Kirk Hammett, and I'm a single cut guy. So if I'm going to do that, I mean, the greenie's never a bad choice, right? And I don't think I'm going up to like fret 24 or anything, because I think I recorded this all on my 24 fret guitars. But, I mean, if I'm emulating Kirk Hammett, I should probably bust out the greenie. Kirk's usually either clean shaven or he's got like mustache and goatee going. I can probably just do Kirk's part clean shaven, and I can schedule that in right after I do the drum part. And then last but not least, bass guitar and backing Vox. So for the bass, I actually sold the Lackland, so I will just use my vintage 5-string, because the only other bass I have is fretless, and that's not going to fit with the aesthetic. So, like, do I dare to do any sort of visual tribute to Cliff Burton, or do I lean into modern Metallica with Rob Trujillo? I don't know. That's a weird deal. Like, I don't want to be disrespectful. This is supposed to be a tribute to a band that I really like. And there's images of Cliff wearing a hat and like a jean vest is what I'm seeing in a lot of his images. So like a jean jacket or a jean vest over a t-shirt. And these videos are meant to be a show. They're meant to be entertaining. They're meant to be like something different from just listening to the recorded song or just watching me play live. Like I like for the recorded song, these performance videos, and like instances where I'm just picking up an acoustic or a guitar or something and playing for the camera. I like for all three of those things to be distinct from each other. Yeah, that covers all the parts. So that's good there. And I'll just use Shure 58s for the vocals for the two backing vocalists. So that's good there. The other thing to think about is what shots I want to get. So I know usually I get 2 different angles per performance. So like for the drums, well, historically I've only done 1 shot for the drums, but I think this time around I'll try and get 2 shots per part. So I'll want like a wide shot of the drums, kind of capturing the whole kit. And it's with because I'm just going to film things in here, I'm not going to bother setting up the background or anything for that. I don't know, I've gone back and forth on this. For tunnels, if I was doing a video for one of my originals, I set up the black background and filmed in 4K and did everything on that. If I was doing a cover video, then I just filmed it in the room and filmed at 1080p. My camera has a pretty severe crop when I go into 4K. So that's a big reason why I've been filming at 1080p, so I don't have to deal with that crop. So I might try filming at 4K if I can get the angles to work, and actually get the full shots that I want in this smaller space. And but then just film in the room and see how that works this time. But I know I'm going to want a wide shot up above the drum kit, and I'm going to want a shot at the kick pedal. Those will probably be the two shots that I get for the drums, and when we get to editing, I'll show you and talk more about like how I'm picking shots and stuff. I'll play along, try and get as much of a feel for what I originally played and how the drum edits and everything came together, and try and get that back under my hands and feet as best as I can. And I'm going to be cutting between different things, so I'm not as worried about being 100% accurate on this. And I know there's people online who are going to criticize that, but I'm not doing this to show off how amazing I am or that I can play anything perfectly. I'm not a great drummer. I can carry a beat, but I'm not a great drummer. I'm not trying to pretend to be a great drummer. That's why I have videos like this where I'm being fully transparent about this whole process. That's not me. I'm trying to put on a show. I'm trying to make something that's visually entertaining to look at while listening to a song that I recorded as a cover and in tribute of a band that I thoroughly enjoy. So with that, I can do the best I can with these two shots, and then as I'm in the editing process, I can cut to where I'm playing things best. For the rhythm guitar and lead vox, I'm going to want kind of a close to medium shot. Technically, this would be close shot up here of like headshot in the mic. And then I'm going to want like where we're getting more of the guitar in the image. And angle wise in here, I mean, I really only have a couple options. I can either put the camera up here, like kind of where the webcam is, and have it going back that way and see the workbench in the background, or I could do in this corner and see kind of back here and get the guitars in the background. I could do that back corner or up on the workbench over there to get like the studio part and the guitars in the shot. And I'll want to do, and I guess I could put another one over there and in that corner, have the camera in that corner and get back over here and get the drums and the studio in the background. So I got to think about what I want to do with all that. I'll want to do probably a different shot for each roll. So drums, limited options, that's static, that's here. I don't know, I feel like James has a very like working man kind of vibe. So that might fit more with getting the workbench in the background. Okay, and lead guitar with backing vox. So the two shots I'm going to want for that is going to be like the medium shot of the guitar and like a little bit above my head. And then I'm going to want one going down the neck for like solo stuff. All right, now we've got bass and backing vox. And for this, because bass guitar is usually so intimately tied to drums, I think that would work with the drum set in the background. Oh, background for the lead guitar shots. We'll do that one with the camera in that back corner with the guitars and studio in the background. Because I feel like that matches with some of Kirk's character. With collection of guitars and studio gear, that just seems like it fits that role a little bit, right? And so then we'll do a couple shots with bass. Oh, I know another medium shot we're gonna need. is that'll also be come in for like doing the backing vocals and seeing how that goes. I could do another close shot down neck, but maybe instead of with lead guitar having the camera at the headstock, maybe for bass having the camera down at the body of the guitar. Whereas, like with lead guitar, we're emphasizing left hand and the dweedly dweedlies, and then with bass guitar, emphasizing the right hand and holding down the rhythm. I think those two shots could work well together. And if I get many more shots than that, this project is going to get way too big and way too long, and I'll never get it done. So that gives me an idea for the characters of this video, how I'm going to structure everything, and what shots I actually want to get. So now my next step is going to be to practice and get all these things under my hands, legs, and fingers again. Yeah, I've got some practicing to do to make sure that I'm actually know what I'm doing. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, I'm going to edit through the parts where I'm doing my best. So I'm not worried about like 100%ing anything. But I do at least need to know what I did and be able to play it somewhat accurately. Yeah, we'll come back here in a minute with after I've gotten through some of that and gotten cleaned up and into character, and we can talk a little bit more about the actual filming part now that we've gotten through pre-production. So documenting things, audio is going to be a little bit weird for a lot of this because, like I said, I have limited capacity for filming multiple things at the same time. And I'm here just trying to get some filming done. So you can see got my backwards hat and my black shirt, my black pants. So I'm doing some drums today. And I'll flip the camera around here in a second. I'll show you what all I have set up for filming. In fact, let's do that. So I've got light here, ring light here. I've got my window open. My computer's got the song pulled up for me to play along to, and drum set. And I'm trying a different camera angle. I've got my tripod up on my workbench, trying to get this kind of backwards thing. I'm just going to film it and see how it looks, and we'll see what this angle looks like. And then move it down here and get a shot with the kick pedal. But yeah, that's where we're at for now. So let's give it a shot. Okay, and I just finished filming drums. That was pretty rough. So I'm glad that I don't have to get this 100% right. I will just kind of tell you a little bit about what I ended up doing. There will be some clips, but I ended up filming 4 different videos. So 2 from the up high angle, and then I did one, my camera just kind of over here, filming towards the drum set for just a little silly intro thing where I'm spinning a drumstick and sticking my tongue out and stuff, putting on a show, doing like Lars. And then I did another one where I had my camera down here, getting an angle on the kick pedal. In fact, I think I had this bag out of the way, and I really had it back over here kind of to get that kind of shot. I think it's come out okay. I just reviewed the footage. The downside is I'm trying to film this in 4K, and using that DSLR, the 4K setting has a very severe crop, and it's really hard to see how severe that crop is in that little window. So I'm having some issues with that, where I get a shot set up about how I would like it. It's a lot closer of a shot than I'm wanting, but I get it to where I can tolerate it, and then I transfer it over to the computer and load it up, and the crop is just stupid. Like I've lost a lot more of the outer edge of my shot than I originally thought. So, but I got some usable stuff. So I can tell it's been months since I played this song, and but getting her done. And so next, I think I'm going to move on to the lead guitar and try and get that done, get that under my fingers, and figure out how to set up that shot. I honestly don't know if I can get the shot that I want to get the way this crop is doing at 4K. So in this room, I might have to film at 1080p. I don't know. I'm going to try this at 4K, and if this video comes out cool, then I'll keep doing it. If not, I'll do future videos at 1080. Okay, so moved on to another day, another project. Today I am working on filming the lead guitar part for the Seek and Destroy cover. Yeah, so let me just switch this around here. Maybe this is what I can do. Anyway. Okay, so the way I've got this, I've got my guitar, my V100 PGM greeny style guitar here, which, let's see if we can get this down. Maybe I can get like some B-roll of this. It's a pretty guitar. Sounds pretty good too. Those pickups are pretty good. And yeah, so what I discovered is the 4K crop on this DSLR camera that I'm using to film this part is, well, let's just say it's too severe to really use this camera, my nice camera, to film my music video. So instead, I got my phone set up here, and microphone sitting into there. I've got the greenie plugged into the Marshall in here in the amp closet, and I've got my mastering session pulled up on the computer. So I play the mastering session and get the guitar and play along with the track and film it. That's straightforward, really. I've got my nice leather jacket in here that I'm using to kind of do the Kirk Hammett look, which is freaking hot in the middle of June. I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm working on. So I'm going to get back to it. Thus far I'll probably end up with 4 different takes, but we'll talk about that at a later point. Here we are again, filming more of the Seek and Destroy video. Sorry, my jaw's kind of getting ready to shoot some bass stuff. So let me just kind of flip the camera around and show you it's set. Alright, so I'm loading up Pro Tools over here. I'm going to have it playing back the master session. My bass is set up over here so I can pick that up. Attire wise, I'm just going with my white Guns N' Roses t-shirt, cowboy hat, and I've got my beard starting to grow in. Cliff usually had like a little bit of a mustache, so I'm doing something where I'm just starting to grow my chops in and kind of catching it before it gets to the length I'm going to use for the James Hetfield stuff. And so I've got my camera and my lights set up over here in this corner, so that's going to have me singing into this mic and playing, and it's going to have drums and rhythm section in the background, which I think makes sense with bass. And yeah, so that's where we're at. That's what we're going for. Trying to think what else there is to talk about here. I shot drums and lead guitar in 4K, and honestly, I'm not happy with the footage. So the DSLR has too much of a crop on it to get anything usable in this small space. And then shooting, I think I did some of the lead guitar on my phone here, and the footage was too grainy. I didn't like it. So I'm between the two evils. I think what I'm deciding is that it's better to get good footage at 1080 than shitty footage at 4K. And I'm starting to remember that that's why I stopped shooting in 4K in the first place, is I was just finding I was getting much better footage if I was shooting in 1080, and the upscaling stuff's gonna make up the difference anyway. So we'll see what comes together in the edit. I think I'm gonna have a lot of color grading to do to make all this footage match, because I'm trying all these different things. But hopefully, if it doesn't turn out to be an amazing video, then at least it has been a learning experience, and we'll just keep on trucking. So I'm going to get this done, and then we will reconvene when it's time to do rhythm guitar and lead vocals. All right, guys. Whew, it is hot in this room. All right, I just finished filming the lead vocal and rhythm guitar stuff. So yeah, that's done. That's a wrap. Filming's done, and I get to move on to the editing phase. Yeah, there's weird glares and things that are happening on this camera. Sorry. Let me flip the camera angle and kind of show you what I got going. Ahead and turned on the LED lights all over. You can't. The only ones you can see are these over here at the workbench, but that's okay. So I've got the Shure 55 Special set up there. I've got my camera, up on the the desk there with my mastering session loaded up behind it. Light here, light here. Left the window closed because I already got enough light coming in. And then the guitar hooked up over here. And yeah, just playing along with the mastered file and trying to perform as close as I can to what I recorded. And then I'll show you how all that comes together in the editing phase after I transfer footage to the computer. Sorry, fighting back a sneeze. So, yeah, we'll be back once I'm ready to start editing. Deuces. So now is come the time for me to import footage into Resolve and start editing and just cutting this thing together. Now, if I'm being completely honest, I don't know how well my computer is going to handle both capturing the screen capture and editing all this footage. So we'll see how far I'm able to get actually documenting this before it starts chugging. And then I'll probably end up doing a lot of this off camera and just talking about it, but I'll demo what I can. So let's go ahead and switch to the screen capture. So first, I might end up shooting some more videos. I might not. So I'm just going to create a bin for seek and destroy. Then I'm going to create another bin for timelines. Then I'm going to create another bin for footage. I'm going to go into my timeline. I'm going to create a new timeline. I'm going to call it main timeline. I might actually end up making some sub timelines, but we'll just start here and see where we go. All right, now I'll go to my footage bin. And then I'm going to drop in all my footy. First thing I'm going to do is drop in my mastered audio. So the way I'm going to do this, I've got a lot of footage here. So I've got two of me doing lead vocals, then another that's kind of me doing the guitar. And then we've got lead guitar. Looks like I've got four different takes of that, 2 mid and 2 close. And then I've got 2 different takes on the bass. And then I've got 3 different takes on the drums plus this little thing. So that's a lot to go through. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my footage in here and then try and line it up. I'm going to unmute this track and then go back in here and try and find... Okay. Because this was just a weird little intro thing I did for the drums. It's weird, stupid, goofy, but sometimes stuff like that can be okay in camera. Right. And so now with that, I'm going to come in here and basically try and line up and it helps to look at the transients. About like that. Okay, now if I unmute that, that's pretty close. Okay, and then I can unlink and then hit Control X to copy. If you press delete, then it just like gets rid of the footage. And drop that down. I'll go ahead and drag that to the start. So I've got that kind of lined up. And then I can move on with my actual take one of the drums. Looks like the actual footage. Link starting about right here. Again, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to look for those transients. I'm not looking for any one take that's just going to be the perfect take. What I'm looking for is just creating a story and finding things where I look like I'm mostly playing what's on the screen. See, and like about right there, that's where I'm going to trim that out. I don't know, part of that still looks like the timing might be off. That's really what I need to make sure I get right now. Okay, that's going to be about as good as I can get that. So I'm going to unlink, get rid of that audio file, bring this down. And then essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and use my razor blade tool and cut out all the stuff that definitely looks like I am not playing what's actually recorded on the song. Right, so that's... Oh, there's a flubble. So razor blade. So that right there looks okay, but then there's this next part where I'm reaching up to silence the drums when the cymbals actually, or silence the cymbal, the crash, when it's actually ringing out in the recording. So that doesn't match. And then there's all this empty space. Okay. So there's that. First one looks really awkward. And probably start right there. And then I'm not doing the right thing with the kick there. All right. And so just to speed this along is then I'll go and I'll drag in take 2 of drums, and I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, it's so awful. But does look to be about in the right place. Remove that. And so now I can go through, and then on top of that, I've got a shot here of just the kick. And what I'll do is, again, I'll cut out the absolute dog shit, and that'll give me a solid drum take. I'll kind of pick the best, I'll cut out the absolute crap of what's left. I'll pick which version's the best, and then I'll get one solid video track of drums. Then I'll start going through and cutting to create the actual flow of the video, right? So that's when I'll look at this and I'll go, okay, well, I want the drum intro with me doing the stick twirl and metal horns, and then I want to go from there and think about, okay, well, in this part the drums are really doing a thing, so I want to see this drum roll or this drum fill or whatever. In the solo section, I want to see the solo, or maybe in some sections where I'm doing backup vocals in addition to the lead vocal. Maybe at that point I want to do 3 shots in the same frame where I've got the lead vocal in the center and then the other 2 on the sides, and showcase that visually in addition to what's happening audio wise. So all that stuff will come later after I've gotten the bones done. Right now this is really rough. A lot of the footage is rough, but when the end video comes together, you'll only see the best parts out of any of this, and it'll start to look more like a cohesive whole. But we will come back when I've got all these together and it's time to start getting a little bit more creative. We'll talk about that a little bit more before we finish this out. Okay, so I haven't gotten everything edited, but I've gotten a little bit into this, and just this is a good chance or opportunity to dive back in here and kind of show you what I'm talking about. So I've gotten a few tracks in. So I've got my overhead drums shot kind of comped together, and then I'm keeping my kick drum on a separate track because there are some places that, like right here, where both were usable, and basically that just makes for a decent transition from the overhead to a different clip of the overhead. So there's that, and then I've got the 2 different bass tracks that, again, I'm at this point I'm keeping those on 2 separate tracks until I get more of a feel for what I'm going to want the other clips doing. But this is a good example of, like, even just starting out, how cutting these little bits ends up turning into more of a video. So if we start from the beginning, you can already see, like, we're starting to tell a little bit. I mean, it's just performance video, so there's not a lot of narrative, but there is a little bit. Where we've got our drummer starting off, getting into the song, the guitars are going, and when I drop the guitar videos in here, like, I might start it off with guitar and then cut to our drummer dude here about there for that. And then this riff starts. And this is a place where I play something a little bit different from Metallica, where I've got that bass just hitting a couple notes. Do-dum, do-dum, do-do-do-do-do. And in order to emphasize that and draw attention to it, well, I can use my video. And, I've got my two different bass clips, and starting off with the one that's more closer zoomed in and on that right hand. And not only that, but it gives us a way to transition to drum clips that I played better than others and kind of cover up stupid little mistakes. And then cutting back so that, we've already introduced our bassist. So now let's step back and see the mid shot, right? And finding one where there's a little bit more attitude. So I've got to use this first 20 or 30 seconds to introduce all the characters. So we've introduced our drummer, we've introduced our bassist. I'll probably use the very beginning to introduce the guitarist, at least one of the guitarists. And then we've got a little... Where is it? About right here, I think. Yeah. That, all right, that's going to be prime moment to introduce our vocalist. So, and that's where we are right now. So I just wanted to kind of come back in the middle so you kind of see how this is coming together. And so, yeah. And I had to do a little bit of color correction already. I need to probably do some color grading on the kick drum clips. Let's just look at that. All right, so I'm going to select this clip and go to color. It actually, everything else is a little bit cool, whereas this looks pretty warm. So I'm going to drop that temperature, not a lot, just a little bit. Increase the contrast. I want more shadows on that. There we go. What about our highlights? We can kick up our highlights to make that stand out a little bit. Okay. So when we look at that, yeah, that looks better. And so what I can do is I can copy, zoom out, and then go and then select all these clips and say paste attributes. And I'm going to say, I want, not all video attributes, color correction, and apply. And so now, anywhere, all those kick drum clips have my new color correction on them. So I can find a clip that's representative of what I'm wanting for this instrument track, like the bass. Okay, let's actually warm that up a little bit. I got a weird face going on there. Increase the contrast just slightly. So this one's just a little dark compared to the rest. Okay, so if we look there versus there, yeah, that's better. So I'm going to copy that. Of course, I didn't do it at the start, so I'm going to have to, all right, do that. Zoom out. Blurb-a-doop. Paste attributes. Apply. All right. Cool. So starting to come together. And we are back. I have gotten a good section edited. You can see I've got a lot going on. So we've ended up with 9 different video layers, with only one's active. Well, no, there's some different things I'm doing with some layering and moving clips to different parts of the screen and stuff. But overall, it's coming together. So let's just take a look and see what we've got. So you can see some of the interesting things I'm doing, aside from just cutting from instrument to instrument to instrument. Basically showing the best parts of things that are most accurate and that look cool. All those types of things. So like I'm trying to do some things visually that are matching what's happening auditorially. Like right here where we're going from just the lead vocal to then where we've got the lead vocal plus the backup vocals. And in some of the video clips, like I forgot to sing along in different parts and different things like that. So all that kind of comes into play as I'm editing. Let's see, where's a different one? Okay, and like in this section, so I'm doing a left-right thing in the audio. So I've got the high-pitched scream that I'm saying is going with the lead guitar on the right speaker, and I've got the low-pitched growl that I'm saying is coming from the bassist left speaker. So I'm matching that visually, and then having the lead vocalist switching sides as the other one switches sides. So yeah, I mean that's basically it. As I start layering everything up and aligning the video clips to my audio here, and then I just start cutting out the crap. And then as I get layers and I get into instruments I'm more confident in, bass and guitar and stuff, where I'm more or less just cutting out what I don't want as opposed to what I doesn't look right. And then I start getting into this stuff. And some of the overlap is just excess. Like right here. Like that's really the only clip that's visual, but I do still have like the base layer down here. It's only going to display the one, it's only going to save at the final render, exactly what I see right here. So I'm not that worried about it. You do kind of have to be careful sometimes with a little bit of overlap, because you might have like one of your lower layers that you're not really actively thinking about going a little bit longer as a different one that's above it gets cut a little bit shorter, and then you'll have like a frame or two of kind of glitchy looking stuff. So you do have to be careful. That just got to be careful. Make sure you're being deliberate with your editing, and make sure you're reviewing everything, watching carefully, make sure there's no glitches, no weird frames, and then make adjustments if you need to. Even after you render out the final video, go back and review, watch it from beginning to end, make sure everything lines up, there's no weirdness, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm gonna keep on going through this. I'm not quite halfway through. This is probably gonna take another 2 to 4 hours to get through with all this. And then I will render it out. And so this is already mastered audio. I don't have to worry about that. I did color correction as I brought in the clips so that everything for the most part looks the same. A few little differences here and there, especially with the lead guitar. But looks good overall. So I'll just go over to deliver, and I'll do MP4, H.264 codec, put in the file name, specify location, add to render queue, and then click render all, and it'll render it out. I'll review it, and then I'll come back in and make any changes that I feel like I need to make. So yeah, that's about it. We will come back at some point once I get through with all this to kind of go over what it ended up being and any final thoughts I have, and then close out the video. I got it done. The edit's finished. Woohoo! All right, so let's take a look briefly at what we ended up with. Of course, I'm not going to show you the whole thing here, and we're only going to be using microphone audio of this so that you have incentive to go and look at the final thing, because I worked really hard on this, as you can see from all these videos. So let me bring the audio track down. We don't need to see all of that. Let's go over to the edit window. And all those clips. Where it's only... Yeah, so I'm trying to think if there's any other like thoughts or things that came up in the edit, but the rest of it worked pretty much the same. These, let me find one. Okay, these kinds of shots where I've got two different shots going at the same time. That was fairly easy to keep doing once I actually got them positioned and figured out. There's one that's still kind of backwards. It's two guitars, the two guitars right like side by side, but I've got I've got them flip flopped, but okay, continuity error, yeah, it happens. But anyway, in order to do that, quickly, I was able to, once I got it dialed in, select the clip that I had set, and then do Control C, and then find the clip that I wanted to change to do that, and then hit Alt V, and it brings up this window. And I could say I want to copy the this is the paste attributes window, and I could copy the position, the zoom, and the crop specifically to that clip. So that sped things up quite a bit. So that was pretty cool. That all came together well. Yeah, the solo part came together good. Do 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 do. And surprisingly, I mean, not really that surprisingly, I've played this solo enough, but both the lead guitar like solo tracks were actually really good. There's maybe one or two mistakes in each. I didn't actually have to do these little things in between, but it made sense to me because the lead guitar is, holding up on that note. Might as well cut to the instrument that's moving. All right, so that's that. The music video is done. Now is just for the admin part, which I will try and do another video talking about. So that's it for now. Thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, appreciate you. You're awesome. Have a good one.